What if 2026 wasn't just another year? What if it was the year everything changed? No more waiting. No more watching others win. No more surviving when you were born to dominate. Right now, you are either the main character of your life or a background extra in someone else's story. And the truth is brutal. Nobody is coming to save you. This is the moment to reinvent who you are, to build unbreakable discipline, and to step into the version of yourself that demands respect, starting now. This is not about hype. This is about identity. This is about becoming the person your future is begging you to be. Stop living on the sidelines of your own life. Stop watching other people take risks, build confidence, and claim opportunities while you stand back waiting for permission, clarity, or the perfect moment. Life does not reward hesitation. It responds to decision. Every day you delay stepping forward, you are silently choosing comfort over growth, familiarity over possibility, and fear over purpose. The sidelines feel safe because they demand nothing from you. But that safety is an illusion. Nothing drains a person faster than knowing they are capable of more and choosing not to act on it. The truth is, no one is coming to tap you on the shoulder and invite you into the game. The world does not notice potential. It responds to presence. When you stay passive, you teach life to overlook you. When you hesitate, you reinforce the identity of someone who watches instead of leads. The sidelines are filled with people who know what they should do but never fully commit. People who confuse thinking with progress and preparation with action. People who wait until confidence arrives before moving forward, not realizing that confidence is built only after you move. You don't step into the arena once you feel ready. You feel ready because you step into the arena. Growth requires exposure. It requires discomfort. It requires making decisions before you have all the answers. The main character doesn't wait for certainty. They create it through motion. Every time you speak up instead of staying silent, take responsibility instead of making excuses, and act despite fear, you break the habit of watching and strengthen the muscle of leadership within yourself. Living on the sidelines is a slow erosion of self-trust. Each time you back away from a challenge, you teach your mind that fear is in control. Each time you avoid commitment, you reinforce the belief that your life is something to be managed, not mastered. Stepping forward is not about being fearless. It is about being decisive. Courage is built in moments when retreat feels easier, but growth demands presence. The moment you choose to stop spectating and start participating, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your focus sharpens, your standards rise. You stop asking what might go wrong and start asking what kind of person you are becoming. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. The sidelines disappear the instant you take ownership. Raise your voice, claim your space, and move with intent, knowing that your life expands only to the degree that you are willing to step forward and take the shot, even when the outcome is uncertain. Identity comes before action always. What you consistently do is a reflection of who you believe you are, not who you hope to become. Most people try to change their habits without ever changing their self-image, and that is why they keep falling back into old patterns. If deep down you still see yourself as undisciplined, inconsistent, or unlucky, every burst of effort will eventually collapse under the weight of that identity. Transformation does not begin with doing more. It begins with deciding who you are and refusing to act in ways that contradict that decision. Your identity is the invisible script running your life. It determines what you tolerate, what you pursue, and what you walk away from. If you identify as someone who quits when it gets hard, you will always find a reason to stop. If you identify as someone who finishes what they start, you will find a way forward even when motivation disappears. The moment you shift your identity, your behavior starts to align automatically. Discipline becomes natural, focus becomes easier, and confidence stops feeling forced because you are no longer pretending to be someone you are not. You are acting in alignment with who you have chosen to become. Action without identity is exhausting. You push, you force, you rely on willpower, and eventually you burn out. But when identity leads, action follows with power. You no longer ask whether you feel like showing up. You show up because that is who you are. You no longer negotiate with distractions. You remove them because they don't fit your standards. This is how high performers operate. They don't rely on mood, they rely on meaning. Their actions are anchored to a clear self-definition that does not change with circumstances. Reinvention requires you to let go of the old story you have been telling yourself. You must stop introducing yourself internally as the person shaped by past failures, missed opportunities, or limitations. The past is evidence of who you were, not a life sentence for who you must remain. The new identity is built through decisions made in the present moment. How you speak, how you prepare, how you respond under pressure. Each aligned action becomes a vote for the person you are becoming, strengthening that identity until it becomes automatic. The most powerful shift you can make is to decide that your future self is non-negotiable. Once identity is set, action stops feeling like resistance and starts feeling like expression. You don't chase discipline, you embody it. You don't seek confidence, you operate from it. And from that place, every action you take carries weight, consistency, and direction because it is driven by who you are, not by temporary emotion or external motivation. Discipline is the new confidence because confidence that depends on feelings is fragile and unreliable. Most people wait to feel ready, inspired, or certain before they act. And in doing so, they hand control of their lives to their moods. Real confidence is not an emotion you wake up with one day. It is a byproduct of keeping promises to yourself. Every time you follow through when it would be easier to quit, you send a message to your mind that you can be trusted, and trust in yourself is the foundation of unshakable confidence. When discipline becomes part of your identity, doubt loses its power. You stop questioning whether you are capable because your past behavior has already answered that question. You no longer need external validation or constant reassurance because your confidence is built on evidence, not opinion. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates belief. One completed task leads to another. One disciplined decision compounds into a stronger self-image. And over time, you begin to move through the world with certainty because you know you will do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Motivation is loud but short-lived, while discipline is quiet and permanent. Motivation fades when life gets uncomfortable, but discipline remains because it is rooted in standards, not circumstances. When you are disciplined, you don't wait for perfect conditions. You operate within imperfect ones. You train your body when energy is low. You focus your mind when distractions are high, and you show up when no one is watching. That consistency builds an internal confidence that cannot be taken from you because it does not depend on success alone, but on effort and integrity. Discipline also removes fear. Fear thrives in uncertainty, and uncertainty disappears when your habits are locked in. You are no longer afraid of failure because you know you will respond with effort, adjustment, and persistence. You stop overthinking outcomes and start trusting your process. That trust changes how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you decide. People sense it, opportunities respond to it. Confidence becomes visible not because you announce it, but because your actions prove it. The strongest people in the room are not the loudest or the most charismatic, they are the most consistent. Their confidence is not performative, it is earned. It comes from early mornings, uncomfortable repetitions, and choices made without applause. Discipline builds a quiet authority that does not need explanation. Once you experience that kind of confidence, you stop chasing motivation and start building structure, knowing that every disciplined action strengthens the belief that you are capable, dependable, and in control of your direction. Pain is not the enemy. It is the raw material of power when you decide to use it instead of letting it use you. Every disappointment, betrayal, failure, and loss carries energy. And that energy will either turn into resentment or into strength, depending on how you direct it. Most people try to escape pain, numb it, or pretend it never happened, but avoidance only traps them in the past. Power is built when you confront pain honestly, extract the lesson from it, and channel the emotion into forward motion. Pain sharpens awareness. It forces you to see what comfort hides and exposes what needs to change. The moments that hurt the most are often the moments that reveal the truth about your standards, your boundaries, and your commitment to yourself. When something breaks you emotionally, it also strips away illusion. You see who was real, what mattered, and where you compromised your own values. That clarity is not weakness, it is leverage. Those who turn pain into power use that clarity to make stronger decisions and refuse to repeat the same patterns. What you do after pain defines you more than the pain itself. You can let it shrink you or you can let it refine you. Power comes from refusing to let your worst moments become your permanent identity. Instead of asking why it happened to you, you ask what it demands from you. Pain demands growth, awareness, and evolution. It demands that you raise your standards and become more intentional with your time, your energy, and your focus. The strongest individuals are not those who avoided pain, but those who learned how to metabolize it into discipline and resilience. Pain also builds emotional endurance. When you stop running from discomfort, you increase your capacity to handle pressure. You become harder to break because you have already faced moments that tested you. That resilience changes how you approach challenges. You no longer panic under stress or retreat at the first sign of resistance. You move forward with calm intensity because you know discomfort is temporary, but the strength built from it is permanent. Turning pain into power means using memory as fuel, not as a cage. You remember what it felt like to be disappointed, overlooked, or defeated, and you let that memory push you to prepare harder, act sharper, and commit deeper. Pain becomes a reminder of what is possible when you refuse to stay down. When properly directed, it transforms into focus, urgency, and drive, forging a level of inner strength that cannot be taught, borrowed, or taken away, only earned through experience and deliberate choice. Daily standards create destiny because the direction of your life is determined not by what you do once in a while, but by what you tolerate and repeat every single day. Your standards are the invisible rules that govern your behavior when no one is watching. They dictate how you respond when things get difficult, how much effort you give when motivation is low, and how quickly you allow yourself to settle for less. The life you are living right now is the result of the standards you have accepted up to this point, not the dreams you talk about or the intentions you set. Most people focus on outcomes while ignoring the systems that produce them. They want confidence without consistency, success without structure, and growth without discomfort. High standards eliminate that contradiction. When your standards are clear, decisions become simple. You no longer debate whether to do the work, protect your time, or take care of your body because those behaviors are non-negotiable. Standards remove emotional negotiation and replace it with certainty, turning discipline into a default response rather than a daily struggle. Your destiny is shaped in ordinary moments. It is shaped by whether you get up when the alarm goes off, whether you prepare or procrastinate, whether you speak with intention or react impulsively. These small choices feel insignificant in isolation, but repeated daily, they compound into a powerful trajectory. Lower standards may feel harmless in the moment, but over time they quietly erode self-respect and momentum. Higher standards demand more from you up front, but they pay dividends in clarity, confidence, and progress. Raising your standards means deciding what you will no longer accept from yourself. It means drawing a line between who you have been and who you are becoming. You stop excusing inconsistency and start expecting alignment. You stop rewarding effort with shortcuts and start rewarding discipline with growth. This shift changes your internal dialogue. Instead of asking what you feel like doing, you ask what your standards require. And that question alone elevates your actions. When daily standards are elevated, identity evolves. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who respects their own time, someone who operates with intention. That identity reinforces the standards, creating a cycle of upward momentum. Destiny is not a single dramatic moment. It is the accumulation of thousands of disciplined decisions made when no one is cheering. The future you step into is built quietly, day by day, through the standards you enforce consistently, shaping your direction long before the results become visible. Reinvention is a decision, not a process that happens slowly by accident or arrives when circumstances improve. Most people wait for life to force change upon them, but those who truly transform make a clear internal choice long before the external results appear. The decision to reinvent yourself is the moment you stop identifying with who you have been and start committing to who you are becoming. It is a line drawn in your mind where excuses lose authority and responsibility takes its place. Reinvention requires the courage to release old patterns, even when they feel familiar and safe. Familiarity is often mistaken for comfort, but in reality, it is stagnation dressed as security. The habits, routines, and beliefs that once protected you can become the very things that limit you. Deciding to reinvent yourself means being willing to disappoint your old self in order to honor your future. It means letting go of identities that no longer fit, even if you have carried them for years, and accepting the discomfort that comes with growth. A decision without commitment is just a wish. True reinvention demands alignment between choice and behavior. Once the decision is made, every action becomes a vote for the new version of you. How you spend your time, what you tolerate, what you prioritize, and how you respond under pressure all begin to shift. You stop waiting to feel different and start acting differently, understanding that emotion follows action, not the other way around. This is where reinvention becomes visible, not through dramatic announcements, but through quiet consistency. Reinvention also means redefining your standards. You no longer measure yourself by past limitations or old benchmarks. You raise expectations for how you show up, how you prepare, and how you recover from setbacks. Instead of asking whether something is possible, you ask whether it aligns with the person you have decided to be. This internal filter simplifies life and sharpens focus, allowing you to move forward with clarity instead of confusion. The most powerful part of reinvention is realizing that you do not need permission, validation, or perfect timing. The decision itself creates momentum. Once you decide, hesitation loses its grip and action gains purpose. You stop being shaped by circumstances and start shaping them. Reinvention does not wait for a new year, a new opportunity, or a new version of reality. It begins the moment you decide that the old version of you is no longer acceptable and that your future demands more from you starting now. This is your moment to step forward and claim ownership of your life. Raise your standards, build discipline, and act with intention every single day. Stop waiting for change and become the force that creates it. The future responds to those who decide and move without hesitation.